The man that I'm with, he's also divorced. He actually got divorced the same year as me in 2019, but he finalized his divorce within.
So essentially that was a trauma bond. They met over them both having issues in their relationship. Yeah, Jessica, you clocked it. You did, per usual. You clocked it. Yep. So they were cheating. Yep. They were cheating with their spouses, with one another. And this is the woman out here women are getting advice from. This is the woman that's over here telling other women what they need to do, what they need to do to keep a man and to get a man. In the way that she got a man, he cheated on his wife and she cheated on her husband. That PP one I'm trying to tell you.
Like 2 or 3 months. It was ridiculously fast. And so he was legally divorced before, like, months and months before we even met.
You can even tell in her eyes. Hold on.
But it doesn't mean that, like,
you can even tell in her eyes she is drained. I mean, she got married at 21. She's been married for 12 years. So what? She's probably like 35, 36 at this point. She looks older. She does. She looks older. She looks drained. She looks tired. She looks exhausted.
The custody stuff. So he has a daughter. So that was not, like, really finalized. It was kind of like pushed off in their divorce settlement, I would say. And he is still to this day working that out. And something that's very important to me is that when we get married, I for sure want all of our children to be there. You know, mine that I shared with my ex, and then his that he shared with his ex. I feel like it's super important for the dynamic to be set, and for there not to be, like, stress surrounding that, and for it to be a really wonderful, beautiful experience. And that is all I'll say on that. I don't want to get into depth because I feel like that is more detail about him and what's going on his side, and that's not for me to share. So let's get into the emotional sides of things. All right, I think that anyone that's been divorced will understand this, I think. Especially when you were, like, someone in my case where hopeless romantic, like, even in the marriage, you just held this very strong belief that no matter how tough things get, you're married. Like, that is your person for life.
So I had watched a video before I got on the live stream, and, like, this was a very, very important part for me that she had said that I had, like, really remembered. Because yeah, that's like top tier pick me. That's top tier pick me thinking. You are going to be there. It's your forever person. You're going to she honestly is just a serial dater, serial marriage person. So I don't know if this is her third marriage or not. Or maybe they were engaged that whole time, and so now she finally just got married. But that was very important, what she said regarding her thinking, like, no matter how hard it is, she is going to stay there. That's going to be the person that she is married to. So my thing is that I'm curious to hear what she has to say, that, you know, after 12 years, what was her breaking point? What was her breaking point after 12 years?
Like, you work through things or you cope through things, like, depending on the season of the marriage. But that was honestly broken for me when the separation happened. Like, my whole idea of marriage shifted. And I guess I shouldn't say that it broke, but it shifted, right? Because,
girl, it broke. It broke. Like, just be honest with yourself. It broke. The fairy tale, the happiness, the bliss, the perfect life that you thought it was going to be, you realize that it wasn't going to be that. And guess what? Because you just said you're a hopeless romantic, you clearly haven't accepted the fact that this is what marriage is all about. And so now you're going to get into another marriage, and guess what? You're a hopeless romantic. So now you still have that idea. You still have that idea in your head. So you're thinking that the second marriage is going to be completely different and better than the first marriage. Statistically, your chances of divorce increase each time you remarry. Same devil, different bodies.
Here I held it as this like up on a pedestal, like should never be tainted, and I would not be the type of person that would allow it to be tainted. There was probably a lot of judgment on my part that I held towards others that had been through divorce.
So essentially, she didn't want to be the bitter old ladies, you know, what men want to call us, you know, you're bitter, you're angry. It took a man, it took a man for that to happen, and now you hate all men. And so essentially she just doesn't want to accept reality for what it is. She's too afraid of she's too afraid of how men and other people are going to perceive her. She is the type that looks at marriage as social status, children as social status. And so she wants to be able to wear that veil to cover up all of her other insecurities, because clearly she has a lot of insecurities. Clearly.
Had gotten separated. Absolutely, I can say that. But life lessons teach you guys. That's why I think that it is so important when you take advice from anyone, especially on social media. They need to have that experience behind them. So how do I explain this? Because
they need to have the experience, but they need to have also been learned the lesson before they give advice to other people. You're not a good person to get advice from. You're not a good person to get advice from. Why would we take advice from someone who got married? You got married at 21, and you said that you all dated for 5 years. So you were a teenager. You were with the same man from when you were a teenager. So it makes sense for us to take advice from someone who dated as a teenager, the same person, got married as young as 21, married for 12 people, or 12 years. I don't know why I said people. Married for 12 years. And then before the divorce was finalized, you already had a child, and you were already with someone who also was going through a divorce. You haven't learned anything. You took no time for yourself. You clearly have done no self-reflection. And guess what? The marriage that you get into next is going to play out the exact same way that the first marriage played out. Yes, the self-esteem is low. The self-esteem is low, and in hell, just where men's standards are.
It was like my decision to go through with the divorce. If anyone looked up the paperwork.
So she initiated the divorce. She's the one that initiated the divorce. So how are you going to sit here and make content telling women on what they need to do to keep a man happy and to get a man and to fix all these things with a man, and you didn't even want to keep yours? You didn't even want to stay with yours.
It is my name that initiated the actual divorce papers, but it was not me that initiated the separation. That was my ex. So I was just the one that was trying to get it done legally, because there were a lot of reasons why I needed to get it done legally. And he was willing.
So essentially what she's saying is that he wanted the separation. He didn't want to he didn't want to have the divorce happen. He didn't want to have the cord be cut. He didn't want the tie to be completely cut. So it sounds like to me, she wanted to break up with him, and he said, no, you're not going to break up with me all the way. So we're going to have a separation. And then she went on ahead and filed for a divorce. He dragged the divorce out because he had to. I mean, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like he was a fucking nightmare. And they were very codependent on each other, and she had enough, and so he wanted to stay codependent, so he drug out the divorce on purpose, and then finally it was finalized.
Willing to just kind of push it off and leave me with the house to take care of myself and the children for the most part to take care of. He was still seeing them, but
exactly. So he left you with the house note and the children because he didn't want to provide anything financially, essentially. So he figured you get the mortgage and you get the children.
Financially, it was kind of all on me. And so because of the way that I went through my divorce and the circumstances surrounding it, it was an extremely scary time for me because I felt like I was the breadwinner. That's kind of the dynamic.
I mean, she was the breadwinner. She was the breadwinner. This is literally, if I was hiring for pick-me's, okay, if I was hiring for pick-me's and I was looking for and I said, provide me your resume, provide me your pick-me resume, she got everything I need. Her resume is strong. She got a strong pick-me resume. Very, very strong pick-me resume. So essentially, her content, my psychoanalysis on her content is rooted in her having a low self-esteem, in her pretty much wanting male validation, and pretty much her trying to sedate herself and stay deluded when it comes to male nature. And so she's hoping that if she's pandering to her future husband like she's pandering to these men that she makes content for. So she is hoping that if I do all this, if I do all that, y'all, she probably lead with this content when it comes to other men anyway. Oh, baby, look what video I made today. This is sad.
Dynamic that you guys might need to know. And so I was a breadwinner. I had my kids the majority of the time, although he shared a lot of parenting time as well because we did not have a formal daycare. All heck broke loose anyways in 2020. And then it did become me being the primary care person all the time just because I was laid off of work. And there was like a lot of concern for COVID and for especially the health of my son who has asthma, and he was just getting over like having a severe uncontrolled asthma with multiple trips to the ER. So there was a lot of concern that, him going anywhere else could potentially put his life at risk. So on top of that, I was being threatened with the possibility of having to pay child support to.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Damn. She wasn't only with a dusty, she was with a dusty demon. See, a dusty will just let you take care of them. You know what I mean? They'll just let you take care of them. And then once you don't deal with them anymore, they'll go mind their own business. This is what I like to call a dusty demon. So a dusty demon will make you pay for the fact that you don't want to take care of them anymore and be there for you. So she was with a dusty demon.
My ex. And that was very scary because it was sort of a temporary situation that we were supposed to be in which I was the breadwinner. That was not our dynamic for the majority of our marriage. It was just what was happening within the last 2 years because there was a career change on his part, and he was supposed to be, eventually doing a lot better.
So essentially, he sold her the dream of, I have this dream and I need you to build me up and I'm going to lead our family and I'm going to make the decision for us. And so she's like, okay, baby, I'll build you. I'll back you. I'll be there for you. I'll take on the bills. I'll take on the mortgage. I'll take on all of this. And guess what? He used it as an excuse to be fucking lazy. And so now she paying all the bills. once a man, ain't no man coming back from a woman being the breadwinner. I'll tell you that much. Ain't no man gonna sit and get comfortable with a woman paying for everything and then decide, you know what, it's time for me to start contributing again. It's time for me to start paying the bills, paying the utilities, taking care of everything. Once a man regresses and go backward, that's where his home is. That's where he's staying.
But he hadn't gotten there yet. So there was concern that like, if literally, if I had to pay, I would have lost the house. And that's why, guys, I have a lot of empathy for men that go through this situation where they literally cannot really afford the amount of child support that the state that
Girl, are you not listening to yourself? Are you not listening to yourself? You left. You're the one that left. You can't have empathy for men when a man did the same thing to you that other men are doing to other women to get them left. You left. So you left for a reason, and because you left for a reason, now you feel bad for men because the men have to suffer consequences for what they do to a woman to the point that it would make her leave. She's looking at this all wrong. She's looking at this in the complete wrong lens. She's too male-centered, way too male-centered. The reasoning makes no, it absolutely makes no sense. It makes no sense at all whatsoever.
that they live in requires of them, especially like when they have 50-50 custody and they're already spending a lot of money in order to have housing for their child. You know, like if they're having
the woman is going to be the main caretaker. A man, at the end of the day, you're a woman. You're not a man. You're not a man. So no man is going to be the main caretaker after a divorce. You're a woman. The only quote unquote empathy that you should be giving to a man is that a man's going to have to go from a house to a little hut apartment. But the kid, he's not going to be the one with the kids 24/7. He's not going to be